We're about to pull back the curtain on the most complex, most incredible machine in the known universe, your brain. It's an absolute marvel, but it's also got, well, it's got glitches, predictable mistakes that we all make. And to show you exactly what I mean, let's just jump right in with a little test.
Okay, you ready? A bat and a ball cost $1.10 total. The bat costs exactly $1 more than the ball. So, how much does the ball cost? Seriously, don't overthink it. Just go with the very first number that pops into your head.
So did you think 10 cents? If that's the number that jumped out at you, hey, you are in very, very good company. That's the intuitive answer that just about everyone lands on, including, get this, more than half the students at places like Harvard, MIT, and Princeton. It just feels right, doesn't it?
But it's wrong. Think about it. If the ball was 10 cents and the bat was $1 more, the bat would be $1.10. Add them together and you get $1.20. Nope. The correct answer is 5 cents. But what's so fascinating here isn't that we get it wrong, it's why we get it wrong. And the answer lies with two very different characters who are constantly at work inside your mind.
This whole idea comes from the brilliant Nobel Prize-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman. He proposed this amazing framework that says our thinking is run by two completely different systems. He called them, very simply, System 1 and System 2. So let's meet these two characters.
Okay, so think of System 1 as the hero of the story. It's your gut. It's fast, automatic, and works with basically zero effort. It's the part of your brain that knows 2 + 2 is 4, or can instantly tell when someone's angry just by looking at their face. Now, System 2, that's the careful, thoughtful analyst. It handles all the tough stuff, the complex calculations, but it is slow, it's deliberate, and honestly, it's pretty lazy. A great rule of thumb is this: if you can't do it while making a left turn into heavy traffic, it's a System 2 task.
So where does that gut feeling, that intuition, actually come from? Is it some kind of magic? Not at all. As another brilliant mind, Herbert Simon, put it, intuition is simply recognition. System 1 is this incredible pattern-matching machine. It takes a lifetime of experiences and learns to recognize things instantly. When a chess master just sees the winning move, or you recognize a friend's mood from a single word they say, that's not magic. That's a highly trained System 1 doing its thing.
But, and this is a huge but, there's a catch. System 1 is built for speed, not for perfect accuracy. And to be that fast, it relies on mental shortcuts. Now, these shortcuts are usually super helpful, but sometimes they lead to systematic, predictable errors, what we call cognitive biases. And the key thing to remember is that these glitches aren't random. Let's take a look at a few of the greatest hits.
First up is a big one, loss aversion. This is one of the most powerful forces shaping our decisions. To put it simply, the pain of losing something feels about twice as bad as the pleasure of gaining that exact same thing. Losing a $100 bill just stings way, way more than the joy you'd feel from finding one.
So to see how this plays out, Kahneman tells this great story about a wine-loving economist. Years ago, he bought a nice bottle of wine for just $10. Today, that same bottle is worth $200 at auction. Now, he enjoys drinking it from time to time, but he refuses to sell it for $200. At the same time, he admits that if he didn't own it, he would never, ever dream of paying $200 to buy it. Logically, that's completely irrational, but psychologically, it makes perfect sense. Selling the bottle feels like a loss, while not buying it is just a missed gain.
And that wine story is the perfect setup for a closely related idea called the endowment effect. It's really simple. As soon as we own something, we start to value it more. It becomes part of our personal endowment, and the idea of giving it up feels like a painful loss. So it's not that we suddenly love the thing more, it's that we really, really hate the idea of parting with it.
A classic experiment shows this perfectly. Researchers gave some nice coffee mugs to half the people in a room and nothing to the other half. Then they asked the new owners what's the lowest price they'd sell their mug for. The average answer? $5.25. But the people who didn't get a mug, the potential buyers, they're only willing to pay about $2.75 for the exact same thing. Just holding the mug for a few minutes literally doubled its value in their minds. That is the endowment effect in action.
So you can see how this all connects, right? We hate losses, which makes us overvalue what we already have, and that leads us straight into our next glitch, the status quo bias. We have this really strong preference to just stick with the way things are. Why? Because when we think about making a change, the potential downsides, the losses, feel way bigger and scarier than the potential upsides.
And trust me, this is not some minor little quirk. It has massive real-world consequences. Just look at this car insurance example.
In New Jersey, the default insurance plan they offered was the cheaper option, and a whopping 83% of people just stuck with it. But right next door in Pennsylvania, the default was the more expensive plan, and most people stuck with that one instead. It's the same decision, but just by changing the starting point, the default, you get a wildly different result. That is the incredible power of the status quo.
Okay, so we've seen our brains have these predictable biases. You might think that's the whole story. But in his later work, Kahneman uncovered a second, much more hidden type of error that messes with our judgment. It's not bias. It's something he calls noise.
So what on earth is the difference? Let's make it really simple. Imagine you have a bathroom scale. If that scale consistently tells you you're 5 pounds heavier than you actually are, that's a bias. It's a predictable, systematic error. But what if every single time you step on the scale, it gives you a totally different number, a random scatter of results? That's noise. It's all the unwanted randomness in judgments that really should be identical.
And this noise, it isn't just a statistical curiosity, it creates huge hidden costs everywhere. I mean, think about it. 2 doctors looking at the very same patient file and giving a different diagnosis just because one saw it in the morning and the other was tired after lunch. Or fingerprint experts who literally change their mind about whether a print is a match when they see it a second time. We even see it in business, where different underwriters at the same company will give wildly different prices for the exact same insurance policy. This isn't a steady bias you can fix, it's chaos. It's a random lottery where there should be consistency.
So, after all that, it might sound like our brains are just a complete mess of glitches and random noise. But that's not the takeaway here. The point isn't to stop trusting our minds. The point is to understand them. Because once you know how System 1 and System 2 operate, you can start to use them to your advantage and make much smarter choices.
And Kahneman's single biggest piece of advice is this: we have to learn to resist premature intuition. For any important decision that isn't on a hair-trigger deadline, that first answer that System 1 serves up, that 10-cent answer, it needs to be questioned. We have to learn to discipline our intuition and deliberately wake up our lazy analyst, System 2, to take a second look.
So this means we can actually build a simple little toolkit for making better judgments. Step 1, just recognize when you're facing a big, complex decision. Step 2, and this is maybe the most important part, just pause. Don't immediately act on that first gut feeling. Step 3, consciously engage System 2. Ask yourself, okay, what might I be missing here? What are the other angles? And finally, Step 4, actually consider the evidence methodically.
Understanding these 2 systems doesn't give you a new brain, but it's something even better. It's like getting the user's manual for the one you've already got. It makes all those invisible shortcuts and glitches suddenly visible. So the only question left is, now that you can see them, where in your own life are you going to look for them first?